Summary of Stop Walking on Eggshells. Taking Your Life Back When Someone You Care About Has Borderline Personality Disorder, by Paul T. Mason and Randi Kreger, written and narrated by Janky Mind. Introduction. Discover solace and support in Stop Walking on Eggshells, a guiding light for the weary allies of those grappling with borderline personality disorder. Immerse yourself in empathetic and insightful techniques that pave the way for establishing robust boundaries while remaining steadfast in your support. Are you drained from navigating the chaos of a loved one's borderline personality disorder? Struggling to meet their incessant demands despite your ceaseless efforts? Dive into the audiobook by Paul T. Mason and Randi Kreger, a transformative journey outlined in Stop Walking on Eggshells. Uncover practical methods, rooted in evidence-based approaches, designed to bring stability to the tempest that can surround borderline personality disorder. Equip yourself with the tools to navigate emotional storms skillfully and identify enabling behaviors that fuel conflicts. Above all, reclaim the power to focus on the one relationship within your control, the relationship with yourself. Are you prepared to craft boundaries that nurture, deepen your self-awareness, and reshape a tumultuous connection? The initial stride awaits your decision. Chapter 1: Grasping Borderline Personality Disorder. In Ken's childhood, the unpredictability of his mother left him in a constant state of uncertainty. One moment, she would express affection and emphasize their special bond, the next, a minor mistake would trigger harsh criticism. The ever-shifting expectations were like elusive sand slipping through his fingers. As Ken grew older, he came to realize that his mother likely grappled with borderline personality disorder. However, this understanding did little to heal the wounds inflicted during his upbringing. Suspicion of others and difficulties forming close relationships persisted, and even minor perceived slights from his wife echoed the hurt and anger triggered by his mother's presence. He found himself ensnared, reliving childhood wounds inflicted by a troubled parent and feeling powerless to break free. Borderline personality disorder, BPD, is a multifaceted and often misunderstood psychiatric condition marked by challenges in emotion regulation, impulsivity, and unstable interpersonal relationships. Individuals with BPD grapple with maintaining a stable sense of self and frequently oscillate between idealizing and devaluing others. The intense emotions and relationship struggles not only impact those with BPD but also pose challenges for their loved ones. To understand BPD, it's essential to first grasp the concept of personality disorders. Unlike temporary moods or episodic anxiety, personality disorders represent enduring and inflexible patterns of inner experience and interpersonal behavior that persist over time and across various situations. Typically emerging in adolescence or young adulthood, these disorders are thought to originate from deeply ingrained, maladaptive attempts to meet emotional needs and navigate the complexities of the world. The borderline in BPD originated from therapists' perception that patients hovered on the border between neurosis and psychosis, although this concept has evolved over time. First identified in the 1930s, BPD is now recognized as a distinct disorder affecting 1 to 2% of adults. Despite increased awareness, it remains a contentious diagnosis, with a higher prevalence among women. Some clinicians argue overdiagnosis, while others may overlook its shifting symptoms. Despite progress, there still exists a significant stigma surrounding BPD, with sufferers often unfairly labeled as manipulative, attention-seeking, or beyond help. In reality, individuals with BPD are navigating profound inner turmoil. At its core, BPD symptoms stem from an unstable sense of self, leading sufferers to desperately seek external sources of identity and self-worth. The following sections will delve into the various challenging manifestations of these struggles. Chapter 2: Identifying Common Traits of BPD. While individuals with BPD exhibit unique behaviors influenced by their inherent character and personal circumstances, there are common traits to be aware of. One prominent characteristic is a deep-seated fear of abandonment, plunging BPD sufferers into a constant state of dread at the prospect of being deserted. Even minor signals of rejection can trigger frantic efforts to avoid abandonment, such as incessant calls, ultimatums, or, in extreme cases, self-harm. It's crucial to recognize that these behaviors stem from primal panic rather than manipulative intentions. Another central trait of BPD is the struggle to maintain stable relationships. The quest for identity leads individuals with BPD to form intense attachments, only to abruptly withdraw. Difficulty integrating both positive and negative aspects of people's traits often results in a tendency to categorize individuals as either all good or all bad. Impulsivity and reckless behaviors, including substance abuse, promiscuity, binge eating, or excessive spending, are additional common traits of BPD. Intense mood swings, marked by sudden outbursts of anger, dysphoria, or anxiety lasting hours or days, are prevalent. BPD individuals may also experience paranoia or dissociation, losing touch with reality as a means of escaping inner pain, and engage in self-harming actions. Chronic feelings of helplessness or emptiness further characterize their emotional landscape. Despite portrayals of BPD sufferers as manipulative or beyond hope, it's important to recognize that personality disorders need not be permanent prisons. Evidence-based psychotherapy and a genuine commitment to change can empower individuals to understand the roots of their disorder and strengthen their sense of identity. This process enables the development of healthier relationships and offers a pathway out of suffering. While the journey is challenging and success is not guaranteed, recovery is attainable for those who seek help, exert effort, and persist in moving forward. Now that we have a foundational understanding of BPD and its manifestations, let's explore how to respond if someone you know may be experiencing it. Chapter 3: Initiating Positive Change in Your Relationship. If the portrayal of borderline personality resonates with your experiences, you might be inclined to share your insights with the person involved. However, addressing such a deeply personal topic demands thoughtfulness and sensitivity. Authors Mason and Kreger, drawing from their expertise, suggest that individuals with BPD approached by family members have often reacted with anger, denial, or even formulating their own diagnoses. A more effective approach, according to the authors, is to gently encourage the person to seek professional therapy. This way, they receive the diagnosis from a qualified therapist rather than from an amateur diagnosis from you. Nevertheless, there are situations where it might be appropriate to share your conclusion, such as when the individual is actively seeking explanations for their feelings and a better understanding of their mental health. In any case, it's crucial to avoid language that assigns blame or induces shame. Instead, focus on describing specific behaviors that cause concern, expressing your genuine desire to understand and provide support, and making it clear that you are on their side. It's essential to recognize that your primary responsibility is not to change or fix your loved one. Instead, it is to cultivate a healthier relationship with them and create a fulfilling life for yourself, irrespective of their actions. The subsequent sections of this audiobook will delve into strategies on how to achieve these goals. Chapter 4: Asserting Your Boundaries. Imagine Mary, exhausted from working 2 jobs, returning home to her roommate Jane, who has BPD, launching into a lengthy tirade about her latest drama. Despite Mary's attempts to retreat to her room, Jane persists in venting, leaving Mary without an opportunity to share her own experiences. This scenario highlights the importance of boundaries when dealing with a friend or loved one with BPD. Learning how to establish clear boundaries is critical for self-protection. The instability and extreme behaviors associated with BPD can easily spill over onto others, and setting boundaries helps bring order amid the chaos while distinguishing between what is acceptable and unacceptable. Flexible boundaries that enable harmful dynamics can lead to living in constant crisis mode or assuming a caretaking role, causing individuals to lose touch with their own needs. On the other hand, building rigid emotional walls to cope with BPD turmoil protects against vulnerability but acts as a barrier to genuine connection. Striking a balance is key, having boundaries flexible enough to allow intimacy yet firm enough to maintain a sense of self. This approach enables compassionate engagement without becoming engulfed in the issues of the person with BPD. Setting boundaries is not about controlling their behavior, it's about honoring what is needed to feel safe and heard. For instance, during emotional outbursts, one might leave the situation while reassuring the person with BPD that discussions can resume once emotions have calmed. Alternatively, setting a time limit for venting before redirecting the conversation can be effective. Establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries requires self-awareness and practice but is crucial for both parties in BPD relationships. Consider another scenario with Jenna and her brother Chris, who has BPD, having dinner at a restaurant. When Chris becomes enraged over a wrong order, Jenna, who has been working on setting better boundaries, firmly but kindly tells him that his reaction is inappropriate and requests a lower voice. When Chris continues, Jenna decides to wait in the car until he's ready to go, paying the bill and leaving. Later, Jenna explains to Chris that she cares about him but isn't okay with aggressive outbursts in public. She suggests that if it happens again, they should remove themselves from the situation. Jenna maintains her boundary while supporting her brother. In summary, set boundaries and be direct about what treatment you will accept versus what you won't tolerate. Chapter 5: Sustaining the Journey. Navigating life with someone who has BPD can feel like an emotional roller coaster. Yet, with understanding, dedicated self-care, and the establishment of boundaries, you can work towards smoothing out the ride. The crucial focus is on yourself. While witnessing destructive behavior can be challenging, it's important to acknowledge that you cannot directly change someone else's actions. Your primary responsibility is to maintain a strong sense of your own identity and values, ensuring you are not easily manipulated, provoked, or thrown off balance. Knowing who you are and acting in alignment with your beliefs is your first job. Clearly communicating your needs and wants follows, but remember, the only person you truly have the power to change is yourself. Here's a tip: try not to take their behavior personally. While understanding your loved one's triggers is important, it doesn't make you responsible for them. Consider the example of John and Sarah, where a simple change in plans triggers an intense reaction from John. Recognize that you are responsible for your behavior, not for someone else's irrational interpretation of that behavior. This realization can be a relief for partners or family members of someone with BPD. Seeking support from sources outside the relationship is vital. Having someone to talk to candidly about the challenges in the relationship provides emotional support and helps you stay grounded in reality amid the stresses and distortions that may accompany a BPD relationship. Part of dealing with a loved one with BPD involves addressing your own psychological or emotional issues. Unrecognized codependency may develop, where individuals take their role in the relationship for granted. Reflect on whether you find it easier to give endlessly than to receive care, thrive in times of relationship crisis, avoid stable partners, derive satisfaction from a victim status, or focus on others' problems instead of self-improvement. These questions can shed light on your tendencies without excusing someone else's behavior. Your goal may be to support your loved one on their journey or simply to survive and thrive yourself. Regardless, maintaining your own sense of self is essential. Focus on improving your life rather than fixing the person with BPD. Work on developing your self-esteem and personal identity by exploring your interests, spending time doing things you love, treating yourself, and pursuing activities you've always wanted to try. Whether it's a partner, family member, or a friend, don't let your relationship with someone else hinder the development of a healthy relationship with yourself. Summary. Dealing with a loved one who has borderline personality disorder poses immense challenges. The intensity of their turbulent emotions can easily draw you into a whirlwind. Beneath the surface, your loved one is likely grappling with profound pain and a desperate search for security. Recovery is indeed possible with professional help and commitment. However, it's crucial to understand that their journey to recovery is not directly your responsibility. You can't navigate or dictate their path. Your primary duty is to safeguard your own emotional well-being while fostering a relationship that is healthy for you. Avoid falling into the trap of enabling harmful behaviors under the guise of caretaking. Strike a balance between love and firmness in maintaining your boundaries. Seek external sources of support, engage in self-care practices, and cultivate your identity beyond the confines of the relationship. Ultimately, the one person you have control over is yourself. Focus on your own responses, build resilience, and, ideally, experience personal growth. This audiobook summary was brought to you by Janky Mind. We hope you enjoyed it.